Normally I only rent games from GameFly, but I was at one of those red box kiosks and I checked out to see what games they had to offer. Because at $2 a day I figured, hey, why not? I was shocked when they had some game that I've never even heard of, and that's saying something since I go out of my way to find unique Wii games to review. The first thing that I thought of when I saw Gummy Bears, the Magic Medallion, was the Disney cartoon series. That was one of the staples in my childhood. The next thought, of course, was the candy. Now, the first problem I had with the game was getting it to run at all. It locked up twice loading up. That's already a big issue if the game won't even work. I tried to reset my Wii by unplugging it and it didn't fix it. I put in another game and that ran fine. So I put Gummy Bears back in and it finally worked. Who knows? Maybe it's my Wii or it's just bad programming on their part. I really don't know, but since it happened during testing of this game more than once, I need to bring it up. The graphics look blech. Now, I never expected beautiful graphics from this title, but I was kind of hoping for something a little more impressive. The graphical feel of the game feels like something you would find on an iPhone. Honestly, the controls are so simple you could easily port this to the iPhone. I didn't like how the main character was all red, or purple, or pink, or whatever color they were trying to do. I think they were trying to go for a red gummy bear look, since that's the most famous flavor of all the gummy bears. I know most people think about red gummy bears when they're thinking about the candy, but it's an awful color when you're designing a game around it. At times your character blends in with the background, or the character itself is very bland to look at while controlling. It would have been better if we could have changed the color of the gummy bear we were playing with. Even the box art shows a brown bear as their main character. Speaking of which, doesn't that bear look like a stuffed bear? I wonder if the creators changed the concept at the last minute from a padded bear to a gummy bear, and just didn't tell the guy who made the box art. The whole game is set in a 2.5D perspective. What I mean is the game is 3D, but it's set in a fixed position with a 2D camera. You know, if you're one of those 7 people who played Klonoa, or if you've ever played Kirby 64, it's the same thing. The 3D aspect of this game really doesn't get used much. There are a few times in each level where something will fall on you from the background, but with the exception of a couple perspective changes, the gimmick was hardly ever used. The controls were a bit stiff, especially in jumping. You could double jump, kinda. It was more like jump and thrust. The second jump really wouldn't get you any higher. It would only keep you in the air a split second longer. And it was a bit hard to get down. But since the game basically gives you unlimited lives, you can master these controls eventually. I say basically because you'll always start at your last checkpoint. These checkpoints were fairly frequent throughout the levels, but the rub is that you can only use a checkpoint once. So you're going to need to make sure you get everything you want in the area before you activate it. You will die occasionally due to the tight jumping controls, especially in the later levels where jumping over death pits is a lot more frequent. I did like the way the bear would come at the screen if it fell in the river or pushed off a ledge from a moving block. Overall, the title is not very hard. There are only 12 levels in the game. In each of the levels, your goal is to find the finish, obviously. Usually there's a door in your way. To open the doors, you have to play a short memory game, or put together puzzles, or find a key, or push switches to open these doors. You know, standard platforming stuff. At the end of a few levels, you will battle in a minigame to get back one of the gems for the medallion you're missing. These minigames were nothing but a collect something before the time runs out game. They were very easy to do. Even the last minigame, you won't break a sweat over. There were a lot of extra things to collect in each level if you really care to get all the badges in the game. You can replay any of these mini-games, puzzles, or matching games anytime you want from the main menu. Very younger kids might enjoy replaying the puzzles or the matching game once or twice, but I can't see it holding their interest for too long. Gummy Bears the Magic Medallion was very average. It was exactly what people make fun of the Wii for. Third-party titles that basically phone it in. The graphics looked like an N64 game, the controls were too tight, and it really is too short, because you can beat the game in less than 2.5 hours, because that's how quickly I did it, and I wasn't rushing. This game is targeted at very young kids with its simple gameplay. For a child 5 to 8, they might find some enjoyment in this game, because the game would be easy enough for them, but it sure isn't worth a buy. But if you have $2 to waste, you can beat the game in one day. So if you're looking for a short game to keep your kids somewhat entertained, I can think of worse games to rent.